Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Raise Your Own Bar podcast. My name is Tamara Bucky, and I am your host. I want to bring on my guest today. We've got Mr. Travis Turner. Let me tell you about this guy. Travis is a serial entrepreneur. He runs multiple businesses. He's a musical artist, he's a motivational speaker and life coach, and he is an unofficial preacher. And he is on a mission to help educate and provide resources to our youth right here in Huntsville. Welcome, Travis.
Hey, how you doing, Queen? Thank you for inviting me and having me. It's an honor. It really is.
Yeah, well, I'm so excited to have you, and I know you and I have a similar drive in this
Right.
world. We want to help everybody succeed, and we've
That's right.
come from humble beginnings, and so we know some of the best practices and things that we've gone through, and so we're just trying to help other people get there too. So I'm really, really stoked to have you.
Exactly. Exactly. Amen.
So tell me, what have you been up to lately?
Man, I've been in my God bag. It's this term that I've come up with saying get in my God bag, meaning I'm just making sure that I'm focused and aligned with God and I'm hearing him clearly because from my experience, he's been able to direct my path a lot greater than I have my own. So that's kind of where I've been and really loving myself. This season, it's been a lot of loving myself, taking time to spend time with me, care for me, because when you're saving and helping people, you can get lost in that and you forget about you. You help, and it's like, oh, yourself is saying, what about me? So I've been making sure that I capitalize in that area, especially. So yeah, it's been a great season for me.
It's so important to love yourself and to
Yes,
be your own cheerleader and be your own coach and even parent to some degree because, you know, we only have ourselves throughout our entire lives.
that's
God
right.
aside, if you're a believer. But people come and go. You're born alone. You will die essentially alone. And so
That's right.
you want to have the best relationship you can with yourself.
That's
And
right.
that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Do you have any tips or best practices you can share on how to build a better relationship with you?
Um, I would say the number one thing is you can't be a people pleaser. One of the main things is people are people pleasers, and we get it, honestly, because it's in our genes and in our genetic makeup to survive. So fitting in is a form of survival.
Hmm.
And so we tend to think that we have to fit in order to survive throughout life, but it's just here and there. We have to learn to adapt, but not lose ourselves in the process and not stop loving ourselves too. And we do that. We tend to do that because what we like, they don't like. And so you get picked on, you get joked on, all that stuff, and it sets you up to adopt that, and that becomes your default. So making sure you're not a people pleaser. You have to be willing to say, hey, I don't like that, because the crowd will say we like this. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you love it, you don't, you love it. And that's something that I found challenging at first, realizing that most of what I love, the crowd doesn't,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
having to stand on that alone, you know what I'm saying? But it takes courage, but that's what differentiates the greats from the lates, as I would say, those who really are going to achieve greatness and those who are not, because you have to be able to lead the crowd and not just follow the crowd your whole life in order to be a leader. So,
Yeah. Great point. And I find it funny. I saw a quote, I shared it a while ago on my Facebook, but it's something like, if you're going to be a people pleaser, at least put yourself on the list.
come on now. Come on now. I like that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because so many times we will put ourselves last.
That's
If
right.
you're someone who is prone to being a people pleaser, which I think a lot of us are,
That's
you
right.
at least need to include what do you care about. At least maybe you don't put yourself at the top of the list, but it needs to be on there somewhere. So
That's right. That's right, Queen. That's right.
when it comes to being in a good relationship with yourself, it can be hard when you go against the crowd because, like you said, that's your tribe. You got to fit in.
Right.
And right now, this world is just getting crazier and more
Crazy.
divided. And the tribe thing, when you step out of line or you say something that goes against the tribe, it can be really scary in today's
That's
world.
right. That's right. I agree.
Well, you're a brave man for acknowledging this and then being proactive to make sure that you are being true to yourself and your God, your goals, your beliefs.
I appreciate that. It takes a lot. It's not easy. I'm gonna tell you, it's not easy. A lot of people will say, the road to greatness is easy. It's simple. No, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you want to be great, if greatness is your destination, if that's something you want to achieve, it's gonna take work. But I'm gonna say this. One of the greatest mentors of my life said, if you do what is easy now, life will be hard. But if you do what's hard now, life will be easy. And it
Yeah.
makes sense, when you're trying to build something, usually the hardest part of it is getting it established and working on it, getting started, getting it established, and getting the foundation going and getting it built and getting it going. Once you do all the hard work, it's really easy, smooth sail after that. So I think that a lot of people want to do what's easy first and expects the easy to come after that, and that's not the case. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely one of the great tips that I use.
I think we've become a very impatient society. We want that
Mhm.
instant gratification,
Come
and
on.
we've we've set ourselves up for it. Unfortunately, I can order
Right.
food and have it delivered. I don't have to even get my wallet because
Come on.
everything is stored in the system, and I can within 30 seconds have food ordered and ready to come to my house. And the same is true with groceries, and it's hurting us, I think, in the long run with
Right.
this mentality because good things take time.
Right.
Things that are worth having aren't built in an hour.
Right. That's right. That's right. Look at you.
So, what kind of work have you been doing lately? I know you're always out here trying to spread good news and be a light and provide resources. So, tell me about some of the things that you've been working on in the community.
So right now, as we speak, I have a coalition that are there, and we're all coming together to form this program called Transitions. We're looking for a certain name. We were thinking refocus, and other terms. However, but this is to change and transition individuals from one stage of life to the next. And so we have a headquarters, which is a facility where you'll be able to come, and it's a one-stop shop resource center where whether you need clothing, whether you need food, whether you need transportation to work, a job, your social security, your ID, whatever it takes for you to get prepared and to assist you in your transition, you will be able to, if not get the resources there, at least get the point of the right direction. And so we've been taking donations from clothes to furniture to beds to whatever, because we're going to have a women's house, a couple of houses, and a men's a couple of houses. And we'll have systems, programming, the whole shebang, man, just to help the world be a better place, by helping people. So I have this motto that says, if we want to change the world, but we first do it by changing ourselves. And when we change ourselves organically, authentically, and lead by example, you'll be surprised who will follow behind you. So that's kind of where we at with that. But that's my hugest accomplishment right now, right? That's what I breathe, I live, I eat, I drink, I sleep it. Like, I love helping people. So sometimes it puts me under a bridge, and that's what I'm trying to get out of, because I love it so much that I will spend every dollar of my personal money. And then it's like, okay, what about my stuff? That goes back to that people pleasing, right? Sometimes people pleasing is not just I'm trying to please you, but it's I'm trying to help save you, but then losing myself at the same time. And so we have to have boundaries, self-care, and self-love, so they won't do that. So that's the hardest thing for me. But yeah, that's my hugest accomplishment right now.
I have been there before where I sacrificed myself, my needs for other people, and not even because they asked me to. Although in some cases they did, but in other cases it was simply because I felt like their need was greater than my own. But we
Right.
get to a point where you can't help anymore if you don't help yourself because you can't pour
Right.
from an empty cup.
Right. That's right. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Man, you said a mouthful, then that'll preach. Wow. Got me ready to preach now. Got me ready to preach.
It's important we remember these things, especially
Yeah.
when we're in
Yeah.
it,
That's right.
because we get into patterns of behavior and we're just doing the thing, we're just trying to get to the next goal or whatever that may be. So it's good to have that in mind at all times, because
That's right.
we have to take care of us.
That's
We
right.
can't take care of other people if we're not.
That's right. That's right. Well, you got
So
all the right answers. Look at you. See there?
I try. I don't always have all the right answers, but
Nah, you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. This is amazing.
so this is so transitions. This is going to be a physical housing plan. This is like almost like a halfway house type
Yep,
situation,
like
or
like transit, like halfway transition house.
okay,
And it would be like an incubator. So it's like you're coming here and we assist you. You're living with people, and then once you graduate and get stable enough to get on your own, we can assist you into the community of apartments. Once you get there, you can either go into an apartment where you share bedding with this, like you. I'm not share bedding. No, don't share bedding. No, no. No, but you share an apartment with another person. And then once you get stable enough to get your own apartment, you get your own. And then once you get stable enough, if you want to graduate, we help you get a house. Okay. So it's just consistently helping you walk into your greatness, become the best version of yourself, and it's gonna work, it's gonna work because a lot of people want a way out, they just can't see a way out.
yeah, it's sad
Yeah,
how we don't know what options we have until somebody shows us.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
being there to
Exactly.
hold their hand and show them, hey, these are the steps, because you don't go from being, you know, broke to being a
Right.
homeowner. Like there are
That's right.
multiple steps in between. Well, what are the steps? Clean up your
That's right.
credit, save
That's right.
money,
That's right.
show proof of I can pay my bills,
That's
have an
right.
apartment where you're living on a budget and you're doing well, and then you go and you go to the next
That's
step.
right.
So
That's right. That's right, Queen. That's right.
what kind of folks are you going to be looking to bring in to these programs?
So we're geared more towards the ones who are kind of ready. Don't get me wrong, we're going to have different housing for different ones. That's what the incubator is for, to bring you here to see what level you're on. So if you're on drugs and you have a drug problem, we can resource you out on
Mm,
that end. If you're not on drugs and you just have a housing problem, we can resource you on that end. Or if you just need job workforce development, we can house you on that end. So it depends on what it is that you need, and we meet your needs. So how can we serve you, basically, is our number one question. Where are you? How can we serve you? Where are you trying to go in life? And that's where we go. One of the main keys to all of it, for me, is 2 points: identity and purpose. All right. The reason that a lot of problems happen in life and come about is because a lot of people don't know their identity nor their purpose. Once you find those two things, those two reasons for living, everything else pretty much manifests itself. You
mm,
attract what's for you. Because if I know who I am, I know who I'm not and who's not going with me and who I'm compatible with. If I know where I'm going, I know where I'm not going, and you know what I'm saying. And
yeah.
so that's kind of the basis of that. So, it's a good thing, and it runs hands in hand. It runs hand in hand. It's not because it's going to be adults, and we're going to impact the youth as well. The housing is not necessarily for the youth. We're going to be doing more geared towards raising kings and raising queens engagement with the youth and teaching them how to be men and women, and how to change brakes, how to brush your teeth, how to brush your hair, how to get a bank account, manage your money, the whole shebang. Because
Yeah.
what we're realizing is a lot of the adults are so far into their age that it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? People are stuck and stubborn. They get so stiff necked, like
Yeah.
when I'm cutting people hair and I'm like, hey, turn your head. They be wrestling with it. I'm like, hey, come on, man. I can't give you the cut that you want if you don't allow me to guide your head. And so a lot of people do that. They want that fresh cut in life. They want that amazingness. They want that anointed Picasso's touch, right? But they're not willing to not be stiff necked and go with the flow. So that's the hardest part, is making people see it for see the better option, making people see, hey, it's something greater for you if you just follow the direction. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, we're trying to hit every angle though.
You mentioned identity, and that's something that has been on my mind lately. I did a Tony Robbins event a couple weeks ago
Was it?
where
How was it, man?
it
I've been
was an
trying
online free
to.
event. It was so good. I've done them
Mm-hmm.
a few times, and
Okay.
very motivational. Really,
Yes.
I was in a place where I needed to get some clarity for
Right.
2025 to know
Right.
what do I really need to focus on? What do I really care about? And he helped me get some clarity. So it was
Well,
very, very valuable for me.
good
But
stuff.
identity kept coming up because we see ourselves however we see ourselves based on our upbringing, based on our parents, our experiences. And we can choose to either accept or reject those
That's
things
right.
that are placed on us by other people.
That's
And
right.
when you have, like, if you're raised a certain way, or you've been bullied, or you've experienced racism, I know um, that's something that a lot of folks have experienced, and they're told by other people who they are, and so they
Right.
adopt this false identity based on
Mm-hmm.
what other people are telling them they
Mm-hmm.
are, or they should be, or what they
Mm-hmm.
can't be.
That's right.
So it's important to know not only who you truly are, but
That's right.
what you're capable of
That's
becoming,
right. That's right.
because we get to choose
That's right.
every moment. Like, who
That's
do we
right.
want to be? What behaviors do we want to have? What values do we
That's right.
actually believe?
That's
And
right.
so it's all about your beliefs.
That's right.
What stories are you believing about yourself? And then
That's right.
which stories actually are true?
That's right. Perspective is everything.
Yeah.
Yep. That's good stuff.
And we
That's
have to
real good.
reject, if somebody's trying to impress upon us a story that we don't resonate with, we have to reject it.
That's right. Free will. And that's why God gives us free will. It's like, hey, you don't have to, agree with anybody to get along with anybody. I respect you, you respect me. That's how this thing goes. And I don't want anybody coming forcing their opinion or their perspectives on me, so I'm not going to do it to anybody else. Just like I believe in God, everybody doesn't believe in God, and that's okay. I'm still going to tell you, hey, I still want you to win. I still think you need to walk in your greatness. I still want you to be all that you can be. It doesn't matter whether you serve God like I serve God or you believe in him or not. I still want you to be great. And that love of just wanting to see everybody succeed is what differentiates a person that really is walking in their greatness and not. So, we have to become healthy. We have to become healthy. And a lot, like you said, it's a lot of programming, I call it,
Oh yeah.
traditionalization, like you're programmed from one generation to the next. And so one of the key components of transitions is unprogramming, reprogramming to get you with the program,
Mm,
unprogram to reprogram to get you with the program, re-up, right? And so
absolutely.
that's kind of what I embed in everybody and try to instill in everybody is, hey, just know you're gonna have to unprogram some stuff. There's some stuff that you thought was cool, that you thought was it, that was just accustomed to your tradition of culture or whatever you come up, and it's not always true. I have a good story. It's this thing called cutting of the ham. And so one day, this married couple, they were in the kitchen, and the wife, she had this ham in there, and the husband was watching her, and she cut the end of the ham and threw it away. And he said, "Oh, why did you throw away the ham?" She was like, "Oh, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're supposed to do." He's like, "Who told you that? That doesn't make sense." And she was like, well, go talk to my mom about it. How about that? Because she can tell you, but we're supposed to do it. I just follow directions." He said, "Okay," because it doesn't make sense. So he went to her and he asked her, said, "Why do y'all cut the end of the ham and throw it away? It doesn't make sense." "Oh, well, this is something that we're supposed to do." "Well, why are you supposed to do it?" She said, "Well, I can't really explain it. My mom told me that's what we're supposed to do. So, just go talk to my mom." So he went to the mother of the mother. And so he went to her and he was like, "Listen, I don't understand, G-Mom. What's going on with everybody's cutting the end of the ham and throwing it away? I talked to my wife. She told me to talk to her mother. I talked to her. She told me to come to you." She started laughing. She said, "Son, they're so silly." She said, "It's not that we're supposed to do that. It's that back in the day, I could only afford a short pan, and I had to cut some of the ham so that it could fit inside of the pan. However, I didn't throw the other end of the ham away. It looked like I was throwing it away, but I threw it in the bag that was in a can that was actually to seal it up and freeze it." Case in point is, it's not always what we think. We might get
Yeah.
taught some stuff might be traditionalized to us, and it might, and we do it just because our mother or our parents or our ancestors have told us or laid a way or paved a way for us to continue to do it. But it's still up to us to say, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Does this go with me? Does it go with reality? Is this something, we have to be critical thinkers and really test that, and that's what the word of God does for me. It tells me to study and show myself approved and test everything. And so I'm always testing things, theories, traditions, whatever it is, of the culture. And I found out that a lot of that stuff, man, is not for me, right? And it's like once I realized that and I unprogrammed and I reprogrammed, I started to succeed. I started to excel. I started to find my true identity. I started to really find my purpose. Okay, this feels better. This is more of a flow motion. It doesn't feel like I'm forcing something. It feels like I'm just going with the current. So
Mm.
that's definitely something that I advise everybody to do, is challenge what you're being taught, challenge what you know, challenge the tradition, challenge the culture, man. Like really find yourself. And it's hard work, but it's worth it. It's worth the fight. You are worth it.
It is absolutely worth it. It's funny how we do things like that. I've heard that story before, and it's such a great example of how we can get trapped into doing things that don't even serve us. Like, you're going to waste food.
Come on.
You probably have a bigger pan and a bigger oven than your great grandma
Exactly.
did.
Exactly.
But just asking why,
Right.
it's scary to ask
Yes.
why, because
Right.
you don't know because the fear of the unknown is very real. And so when
Yes.
you ask why, you know that you're opening yourself up to things that you may not like. And so a lot
That's
of
right.
people don't even want to look in their
That's right.
beliefs and try to see, why do I believe this, or why do I
That's
have
right.
this behavior? But it's so crucial to do that. I call it root cause analysis, where
Come
you're
on.
looking at your behavior and you're analyzing and trying to figure out, well, why do I do that? Well, why did I react this way? Well, why did I feel that way? Well, why did I
Right.
think that way? And you just keep asking why, until you
Right.
get to a point where you fully understand.
Right. That's right. That's right, love. Absolutely.
And so many people ask why once or twice, and then they get to a point where they're like, I don't know, and they're frustrated. And rather than if you say you don't know, I don't believe you. You have to keep digging,
Exactly.
keep
Exactly.
digging. But it's hard. It's hard
Exactly.
work, and it does take courage, like you said. It takes courage to really look at yourself, to love yourself enough to truly try to understand yourself.
That's right. That's right. That's right, my sister. Look at you. Come on now.
I'll give you a little story if
Come
you
on.
don't mind.
Come on
Um,
with it.
so I grew up, uh, my biological father rejected me at birth, and
Wow.
he didn't want to be with my mom. My mom was a teenager. My mom was 15 when she had me. And so that
Wow.
was tough. That was really hard. And because I didn't grow up with a dad, she got with my stepdad eventually, and I fully rejected him. I was like, you're not my dad. I'm not going to listen to you. And that's a very common thing for people that grow up without a father, is they then will reject authority. They tend to
That's
be
right.
more rebellious. And when
Right.
they do get that authority in their lives, they push back, right? So
Right.
fast forward to present day,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe like 3 years ago when I really had this epiphany. So
Okay.
every time Andrew, my boyfriend, will try to tell me what to do, I rebel.
Mm.
It could be the dumbest stuff ever. Like literally, he could
Mm.
be like, "Hey, could you please take the trash out before you leave for work?" Like, it could be just the smallest thing that, yeah, I don't mind doing that. But if he's telling me, I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do it. How dare you tell me what to do?" To the point where even if it's something I want to do or should do, if he tells me to do it, then I'm rebelling against it.
Right.
And I came to this realization one night. I fell asleep on the couch. We were watching TV, and I fell asleep on the couch, and he got up to go to bed, and he's like, "You should go to bed, babe." And I said, "No, you don't tell me what to do." And I was like, in that moment, I heard myself, and I was like, this is so dumb. How could I say this? Literally, he's going to bed. He knows I don't want to sleep on the couch because I'm going to end with a crick up in my neck, a crick in my
Yep.
neck.
Yep.
And the only reason that I was even rebelling is because that being told what to do was a trigger
Mm-hmm.
from my
Mm-hmm.
childhood. And
Right.
now that I recognize it, every time I feel that flare up in me, I can go, Yep, that's what it is. That's not
Yeah,
valid. That's not
that's
serving
good.
me. And then I
That's
can move
good.
beyond it.
That's good. Look at you. That's good. That's real good.
It took me what, 30 something years?
Hey, that's the process. It took me about that long too. And I have some of the same thing. Like I started to realize that too. I can relate that if somebody tries to tell me something, it's like I've been through the system. I've been through incarceration. I've been through certain things where my free will was taken and I was, forced to do things. So of course it's like, tell me, you don't run me. You're not the boss of me. You're not my daddy. You
I don't
ain't
have
my
to listen to
mom.
you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm grown. I'm the daddy. I'm grown. I'm the daddy.
Yep.
Yeah, what you talking? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I get it. And it's great that you are able to pinpoint that, realize that, and not be in denial. So then you can do something about it. That's huge, because a lot of people don't make it there. So, standing ovation for you. Straight up.
It
That's
takes
huge.
work. It takes
It
work. And
does.
it
It
it's
does.
it's not easy work. Looking
It's
at
not.
your own self and trying to unpack your own bullshit, for
That's
lack of
right.
a better term.
That's
It's
right.
it takes bravery, but
It
once you
does.
do that, I can recognize that the feelings I get whenever Andrew, it's not like he's trying to dictate what I do either. Like he's
Right.
just making suggestions to me.
Right.
But that feeling I get that comes up, it comes from a fear of little me, like
Right.
who I was when I was a child. And so you have to comfort that inner child and understand that what was real for you back then isn't true today.
That's right.
And it's okay that you're feeling this way, but I'm working on this program I'm trying to put together. It's called Evolving in Real Time.
Okay.
And the idea is that I want to teach people how to evaluate their triggers as soon as they come up.
Come
Like
on.
as soon as you feel a point of tension, whether it be anger or fear or frustration or whatever kind of pushback in your body, in between your body and your mind, that you can then unpack it and try to understand where is that coming from, because 90% of the time it's not even about what's happening now. It's a trigger from your childhood that you are, or
That's
your
right.
past relationships
That's
that
right.
you are reliving. And
That's right.
so something that I'm really hoping to share with the masses because people need it.
That's actually good because that's what I do because I've learned that it's it creates a callus. The
Mm,
longer you take to deal with it, it becomes harder and harder. It's like
mm,
putting down the floor. When you're laying that floor, right, that foundation, it's easy to put the glue down and put the floor down. But when you taking that joker up, ooh, it takes so much more time, especially if it's been there for years. You got flooring that we put down for years, 30 something years, right? And you have to come back and take that floor up. That it
yeah,
takes time, it's going to take a lot longer. So if you deal with it head on as soon as it presents itself, that's definitely the best way to address it and get done with it, because the longer you take, the harder it's going to be. So I agree
yeah.
with that. Yeah.
I always like the analogy of baggage. We carry around baggage, everything that we've accumulated in our lives, the painful memories,
Mm-hmm.
the hurts, the rejections.
Mm-hmm.
We keep it and we lug it around. And at some point, you have to stop and realize you don't need to carry 4 suitcases on a weekend trip. Let's see
Come
what we
on.
really need to keep here. Do you
That's
really
right.
need all this other stuff? And so,
That's right.
taking the time to unpack your baggage and look at it, pull it out, examine it. Look, do I still wear this? Does this still fit me?
Right.
Does this go with anything else that's going on in my life? You think
That's
about
right.
it. If you're going on a trip to Hawaii, are you going to bring a fur coat? No.
That's right.
So looking at it in that way and doing the work to actually examine it is where the pain is, because you kind of relive the pain when you're thinking about it, when you're looking at it, so to speak. And that I
Mm-hmm.
think is where people shy away from, but they don't realize how much freer and lighter you're going to be on the other side after you.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I'm at a place where I understand that when you don't have your hands too full of what you're not supposed to have, they're empty to receive the things that you are supposed
Mm.
to have. And a lot of times it's hard for us to let go of stuff, man. That's the thing. Like, it's so many parts of me I want to take to the next level. And it's like,
Yeah.
no. And it's like God be like, nope, let it go. And I'm like, no. He's like, let it go. And I'm like, okay. And you will have pain. You will have a little stress behind letting it go. It's gonna be like that. You're gonna be a little sad because that's a part that you liked and you wanted to continue to thrive with you. But then, however, once you receive that next thing, right? Whatever that thing is, whatever that those pieces of you that you need for that next version of you and next level of you, you're gonna be like, oh man, it's so much worth it. You're gonna forget about that. For instance, iPhone. When you first got that iPhone, because they do so many updates. When you first got that first iPhone, it was like, oh yeah, I got the iPhone. I remember when they had the little small one, looks like a Nokia. You remember that? So I got that. I'm like, oh yeah. Then they got the next version. I'm okay. I'm okay. Then it started going slow, and I started to realize that the software was different. The technology was different. So I can't stay antique with the iPhone. I need to move up to where I am in life, and I had to trade that iPhone in.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to trade it
Upgrade.
in. I had to. Come on now, upgrade.
Yeah.
We got to upgrade. We got to upgrade. So yeah. That's good stuff. Look at you,
Well,
Tammy.
I'm an
Come on.
Android person personally, so
I am
I don't know
too.
about no
Team Android.
iPhones,
Let's
but
go. Let's go. I don't like to be controlled like that. Come on, man. We just talked about that. Android, it's controlling. Apple, ooh, it's like the FBI.
both of them are. I mean, we live in a surveillance state. I don't think there's any way to get away from it now, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know what you said? It made me think of it's another analogy, like when you're moving,
Hmm.
like physically moving your household.
Right.
There are things that as you're packing, you realize like I don't really need this anymore because I'm not going to have room for it in my new house.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to let go because sometimes we try to bring stuff that it's old, it's even broken, it's sitting in a cabinet. We didn't even remember we had it for three
Right.
years, but we just
Right.
why would we pull it out? We haven't used it in 3 years. Why would we pull it out and take it with us when it's
Right.
dented and maybe doesn't, think of an analogy. I love kitchen stuff. So I always have all this, just so much kitchen stuff. And when I move, I realize I've got like stuff that's dented and there's no lid. And why am I holding on to it? It's not useful.
Exactly. Exactly.
We just
Exactly.
like clutter, we just want to
Yeah,
hoard
man.
things. And that
Yeah.
includes behaviors and emotions,
That's right. That's right.
beliefs. We gotta
That's
let them
right.
go.
Gotta let them go. Let it go. Gotta let it go.
Yeah.
And that's called a stronghold.
Just what?
That's a stronghold.
Mm,
It has a strong hold on you. And
yeah.
so a lot of people don't understand, why can't I go to the next level? I'm working hard, I'm doing this, because that exposes that there's parts of you that can't go to the next level that you have to let go of.
Mm,
And that's one of the
yeah.
things about this, because I have this movement called walking into your greatness. Like, walk into your greatness. Greatness is nothing less than God's best for you. If you don't believe in God, it's just what's best for you, nothing less for you. You hear me? Let's get it. Yeah. And in that, the hardest thing is to let pieces of you go and die. Like, the 5-year-old Travis could not go to the next level of the 10-year-old Travis. The
Mm-hmm.
10-year-old Travis could not go to the level of the 15-year-old Travis. The 15-year-old Travis could not go. And it just goes on and goes on. And even now that I'm 38 years old, you know, I when by the time I get 40, God bless, or 50, I can't have the same mindset and the same swag, the same like it's just, I'm gonna evolve. I'm gonna get more mature. I'm gonna get more wise, and that's just what comes with those next levels of greatness. So we have to be willing to adapt to our environment. We have to be willing to evolve, right? And to let go of those parts of us that can't go. And
Yeah.
that's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing, man. That's one of the hardest things that I've seen people wrestle with, why they can't go to their next level.
I love the way you put that. You can't get to the next level because you're bringing things with you that aren't compatible.
Exactly.
So being able to identify what those things are that you need to shed, so
That's
to
right.
speak, or unpack or throw away takes a real it takes a lot of effort. And I've gone through counseling. I find a lot of value in counseling, but also coaching. I think coaching is
Right.
so great, and mentoring. Having
It is.
someone to talk to that can kind of poke questions, right? When you start
Right,
talking, they can go, well, wait a minute. What do
right,
you mean by that? Or why
right,
do you believe that?
right, right. Yeah, that is healthy, very healthy. And I have several mentors in my life and life coaches as well. And I think that every great leader needs a leader,
For
every
sure.
great mentor, life coach, because we're all mentors and life coaches, whether we want to believe it or not. You know,
Yes.
everybody's a leader. We're all that. So you can't turn off. I have this thing where it says you can never turn off the switch of influence. Never.
Mm.
I don't care. There's a lot of people, they say, I ain't no leader. I don't no. Listen, if you're alive, if you're living, there's people watching you that you're affecting. I'm
Yep.
gonna give you a case in point. Man, I had a cousin of mine, and the old version of me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bad. I lacked attention. My mother was on drugs, so I didn't have that at the house. So anytime I went to school, it was time to cut up and have fun. Because at home, it was like, I don't want to be here. So that was my escape. And I used to be real bad or whatever, and it was just for attention. It wasn't like the hideous bad. It was just attention. I lacked attention, so I wanted attention, and I was a class clown. I made everybody laugh. I was that guy, right? And in that, what was I going at? Because I just thought of another point. Hold on. What did I say before that? Because this is deep. Oh yeah,
Mm.
my cousin. So in that, when I was in the streets and I was raised in all of that and doing what I was doing, I had a cousin that was watching me. I didn't know. One day he became a notorious robber and all of this stuff, man. He started thugging, drugging, robbing and stuff. And I'm like, dang. And one day I went across him years later. I went across him and we were sitting in the car and I will never forget. He said, because I just want you to know that you was always who I looked up to and my hero.
Mm.
And I wanted to be like you so bad, even though you didn't let me go with you when you used to go was in the streets and going through addiction or whatever you was doing. I still used to sneak out and watch you, and I used to be like, try to be like you. And he said, I could have been anything, but I wanted to be like you. And it broke me, Tam. It broke me so much, man. I started crying instantly because I started to reflect off all some of the bad mistakes that I had made coming up as a kid and realizing that I'm thinking I'm keeping him away, but he still knew and was watching me. And it probed him to become a gangster or a thug. And so I'm
Mm.
like, wow, and from that point on, I knew then I would never ever let my life, right, influence somebody down that type of road and lane. 3 days later, Tam, he lost his life to a headshot.
Oh.
He told me this right before he died.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Man, when I tell you, man, when I tell you that broke me, that made me say, I will never allow my life to influence somebody in a negative way again because you don't think that these people are seeing you and watching you and studying you like that. You don't think that you're influencing them. I thought I was keeping them away from it, but he still was able to see and know what I was doing. And I'm like, for me to be an influencer in a negative way like that, I hold that to my heart. And yes, he had his own decisions. Yes, he made his own choices. However, I had a huge impact in his life, right? And I wish that I could have been different then, but life and choices and circumstances happen. But from then on, I made sure and vowed that I would never ever fall into that category again. And since then, man, I just been nothing but trying to be greatness for everybody and influence people to be the best versions and get the best out of life. So yeah, we have to be careful.
Well, rest in peace. That is
Yeah,
such a sad, sad story, and
right,
that makes me want to cry. I mean,
right,
I've lost people to gangs and drugs, and oh gosh, that just hurts my heart so much.
right.
And my heart goes out to you and your family for that loss, because that's so unavoidable. I'm sorry, it's just so avoidable.
Yeah,
But kudos to you for now using that as a catalyst to live better and be a good influence. And I say this to people all the time because everybody and their mother wants to be an influencer now.
right, right,
Every niece and nephew I have, I'm like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an influencer. Listen,
right.
we already have influence.
That's right.
Who's in your circle? Who's in earshot? Who's
Right.
watching you?
Right.
whether it be in your personal life or your work life or your school life or whatever life it is, you have people that you are currently influencing.
That's right.
And I would love to, if I may, tell that story someday for
Yes,
you because
of
I think
course.
it's, I always talk about influence, and to hear something that was just so impactful to someone that I care about, it would be, maybe I can even bring you and you can tell that story sometime because that's a wake up call for people.
It is. It is.
And some people really need that.
That's right. And yeah,
But
most definitely.
we just have to take stock. You want to be an influencer, be an influencer, do right. And instead of worrying about who's on your TikTok or your YouTube, who's in
That's
your
right.
real life, your
Come
nieces, your
on.
nephews, your
Come on.
cousins, your
Come on.
coworkers, your
Come on.
classmates,
Come on.
your neighbors.
Right. That's right. Who's your followers in real life, real time?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And then if you want to spread that message, you have a good message worth sharing, put it on the TikTok and Instagram and wherever
That's right.
else. But
That's
make sure
right.
you're sharing something of value before you start
That's right.
sharing.
That's right. That's right.
And you really gave me a lot to think about with that.
That's good stuff.
Whew. Well, rest in peace to your cousin. What's his name?
Henry Dillard.
Rest in peace, Henry. We don't
Thank
get to do things over, but we can move forward and
you.
do things better.
That's right. That's right.
And I know
And you
Henry's
know,
looking down.
even though it's humiliating and it's a shame for me, and it's okay for that to be that because, it keeps me in a place of accountability. I'm not the person that throws a rock and hold my hand. I face it like a man. Like, man, I jacked up. I
Yeah.
messed up. Like, I love when a person corrects me. The Bible tells me that a just man, a righteous man, loves correction, and I do. Tell me a booger's in my nose. Tell me if I'm messing up. If you have great advice for me, as long as you can do it assertively and you're not coming down on me like you're
Hmm.
trying to break me down, then yes, I'm gonna receive it with open arms. And so, I'm always trying to hold myself accountable, right? Before somebody else does. Travis, can you do better? Like, I get in that mirror, I'm my own influence. Like you said, so everybody want to be so much of an influence. First of all, are you your own influencer? Come on now. Be
Hmm.
your own influencer. Because if nobody motivates you or influences you, you need to be there for you. I get in the mirror every day. Travis, what's up? What we doing? Are we gonna listen to the negative thoughts and negative ways of thinking? Or are we gonna see at what's left, what life we have? We woke up, we have another 24 hours to do something great. We're able, we're walking, we're breathing. Like, let's go, let's make the best of it, let's get it. And when you keep your mind in that type of mindset, everything goes well. It's also like somebody told me that once they wake up, affirmations, saying affirmations, it does affect you because life and death
Hmm.
is in the power of the tongue. So if you speak negatively, you're going to attract negativity. If you speak positivity, you're going to attract positivity. And so I strongly believe in that. There's this thing called the power hour. And whatever you do in those 30 minutes before you go to sleep, and there's those 30 minutes when you first wake up, it affects your whole day and the rest of your life. It does. It sets the tone. So if you start it negative, then it's going to end negative, usually. If you start it positive, usually it'll end positive. And I'm not saying stuff won't come along, but when you start it there, you have a more likely chance to end it positive if you start it positive. Also, there's this statistic that negativity affects you in a ratio of 30%.
Hmm.
30%. That's me. If I'm just around you and you're negatively complaining all the time, that affects me 30% in a
Hmm.
ratio of 30%. That's almost half. No wonder, like,
Emotions are catching for one.
yeah, they're
Emotions
contagious.
are contagious. So if
Yeah,
you're working with the negative Nancy, I've been there. You
yeah,
feel yourself kind of picking up those same behaviors. And
exactly. Birds of a feather flock together. It's true. It's
yeah.
true. And if you're positive, it affects you 15%.
Hmm.
So I, I like those numbers any day. You know, I take the 15%. You can keep the 30. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like that's why I tell people like some people are come and they're coming. I've known this to be a fact because I've actually practiced it in my life. Like let me deal with negative people because I'm always, yeah, let's get it, go, go, go. And everybody that comes around me, I'm not the thermometer. I'm gonna set the temperature, right? I'm the thermometer. I mean, which one? Thermostat. I'm the thermostat. I'm gonna set the temperature, right?
Hmm.
And so when I walk in the room, it's like, yeah, greatness, joy, love, peace, prosperity, greatness. Let's get it, you know. And this is all day, every day. But when I'm finding myself not there, I say, what affected me? What did I watch? What did I listen to? Who was I around? And I usually can pinpoint where it came from. And sometimes it's me. Sometimes it's me thinking past. Sometimes it's me thinking, dang, I wish I wouldn't have misled my cousin like that. You know, sometimes I get in that way of thinking all the bad stuff I've done, the mistakes I've made. What would life be if I wouldn't have done this, that, and the third? You know, sometimes we get into that negative way of thinking too long to the place to where it starts to affect us and makes us don't want to have any motivation or influence to do anything, right? And we have to be
Yeah.
careful of that. We have to be careful of that. So, staying out of that negative stinking thinking, man, you have to keep it positive. I don't care how hard it is, do it. Keep positive people around you because birds of a feather do flock together. So,
Well, and they'll
yeah.
turn you. You know, you may not even be that type of bird, but if you spend enough time, you're going to think you're that type of bird.
Come on. Come on now. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's right.
we,
That's right. Look at you preaching, girl. You preaching,
we
girl.
have we have
Come
to
on.
make sure there's this idea that you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So when you're spending your time with negative Nancy's, you're going to become a negative Nancy. You spend your time around five crackheads, you're going to be the sixth crackhead.
That's right.
I mean, that's
That's
just
right.
facts. You
That's
spend your
right.
time around
Facts.
six millionaires, you're probably
Be
going
a
to be the,
six. You're gonna be a
you know what I
millionaire.
mean?
Yeah.
Who are you spending your time around?
That's right, love. That's right. You know, they say it's I just heard a motivational the other day and he said, E.T., he was like, everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants to be a millionaire. But if you want to be a millionaire, you gotta be a millionaire. You can't wait to get the $1 million thinking this is when I become a millionaire. No, millionaires are formed.
Mm,
Greatness is a process. You have to be it and do it and be it and practice it and walk into it and embrace it. Then you become it. That's how it goes. But a lot of people think I can be a zero and all of a sudden I'm a hero, and it's not going to work like that. There's a conditioning that comes with it. Like for instance, kings and queens. Before a prince or a princess becomes a king or a queen, they have to get what? Mentored. They have to get taught
they're
how to talk.
trained from
They're
birth.
trained.
Yeah.
They're trained. They get prepared to be king or queen because they can't walk like regular people. They can't talk like regular people. They can't eat like regular people. They can't think like regular people. You can't. So you have to get accustomed to getting that process and getting that conditioning, getting that training, getting, you know what I'm saying, getting that critiquing. You have to get that, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. So you're absolutely right. That means if you're a millionaire and if you're a king, if you're a queen, and I hang around you long enough, then I'm going to become that because my ways are going to turn into your ways, and automatically
Yes.
success is predictable. It's like gravity. It has to happen, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's the
Because
same way, like you said.
people want the money, but you don't want to do the behavior. What behaviors do millionaires have?
Come on,
It's
come
not
on.
just spending money, because if they
That's
were
right.
just money spenders, they wouldn't have millions of dollars.
Exactly.
So, what is it that they do? Is it that they're investing their time wisely? Is it that they're
Exactly.
always learning? Is it that they're always, making good decisions with the end
That's
in
right.
mind?
That's right.
We just have to learn those behaviors, and
That's right.
then the money will come.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right.
And it also makes me think of, how many times have we seen people get rich, but they didn't learn the behaviors, and so
And lose it all.
they lose it, they spend it
And
all, and then they're
suicide,
broke.
and then commit suicide, all type of stuff, like, or get on drugs bad. Why? Because they weren't that. That's why most, what they say, the lotto, most people that win the lotto, they go broke. They go broke. Most majority, more than half, they
Yep.
go broke. Why? Because they're not ready for it. And
They
one
don't have
thing I've
the
learned,
mentality. They don't
that's
have
right.
the habits.
That's right. That's right. And one thing I've learned is that I say God, some people else will say life.
I
That
say the
it
universe,
The
personally.
universe, cool. We can go with the universe. It prepares you. The journey prepares you. People get so caught up in the destination that they don't realize that it's all about the journey. That's where the meat at. That's the grit. That's where the essence. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
That's forming you. You have to embrace that and be okay with that. So then you can be that. I don't want to act like I'm that. I want to be that. And that's why we have a lot of pretenders, people with masks. And when you get behind the mask, it's like it fails. And why? So many
Mm.
people open businesses, start businesses, fail, especially this generation now. You'll see a lot of them. They want to go from the bottom to the top like that. This new generation, they don't want to go through the process. They want to put the raw chicken in the microwave for 2 minutes, ding, and eat it. No, it don't go
It's not
like
going to taste good.
hey, you're gonna get sick, you might die. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like, come on, man. You know, and that's just the sad reality of things. And I get it. Everybody wants their situation to change in the blink of an eye. Every millionaire wanted that. Every billionaire wanted that. Every great person wanted that. However, we have one thing come, we understand that even though I want that, that's not the reality of things. And actually, when you go through the process and you enjoy the journey and embrace the journey, you start to realize, hey, this was needed. Actually needed that to become this.
Hmm.
I needed that to prepare me for when I got this. Now I know what to do with it. You know, I know what to do with it and who to do it with. So there's so much geniusness in the process. There's so much amazingness
It's
in the
all
process.
about the journey. It really
Come on.
is.
It
And
is.
it's about the prep work. You think about your chicken example. We want instant gratification. So
Right.
maybe because we don't want to do the work ourselves, we order food. Well, we're
Come on.
not thinking about, yeah, it's instantly gratifying for us, but still somebody did the work.
That's
Somebody,
right.
so you're paying for that, right? You're
Exactly.
paying $30 to get a chicken sandwich and fries and a milkshake delivered because you don't want to do the work. So there is a sacrifice there.
That's
And
right.
even though you're not the one doing it, somebody did that work for you.
Exactly.
Even
Exactly.
if you buy in a TV dinner, right? You buy
Come
a
on.
TV dinner, somebody in a factory made that meal for you so that you could
That's
pop
right.
it in your microwave and eat in 3 minutes.
That's right.
It's not going to be as good as if you took the time to prepare it, because if
That's
you
right.
take the time, it's going to be the best food compared to a TV dinner, because there's
That's
so
right.
much that goes into it, fresh ingredients and
That's right.
technique and seasoning and also love, your food being, making. I will never disagree that food made with love is going to taste better.
It's always gonna taste
I mean,
better. It's always
always.
gonna taste better. That's
Yeah.
always been my experience.
Yeah.
Always. Always. And
Yeah.
that's anything, not just food tasting better.
Yeah.
That's haircut, getting your hair done,
Yep.
like whatever it is, like if it's done with love, it's unmatched. It's
Yeah.
unmatched because there's just this certain flow that you get into when it's from the heart, you know? It's just a certain flow and energy that
And
comes
I think it's
behind.
intentions too. You
Right.
care about this person, and so you care about your family. You want to feed them nutritious food. So there's that intention goes into it,
That's right.
versus just slopping some things together in a factory. Maybe you're
That's
making it
right.
with love, but I doubt it. I mean, you're doing this
Right.
day in and day out. I doubt
Right.
you're putting much love into it. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Intentions really do matter.
They matter. They matter. They
Well,
make all
Travis,
the
this has been such a good conversation. I know we're almost at the end. So, is there anything else you want to talk about, or any plugs you want to share if people want to follow you or do business with you or get a haircut from you or anything like that? How can they reach you?
Okay, so I have a barber shop, and if you want to get a cut, I can turn your fiasco into a Picasso. You can call area code 256-694-3190. Again, that's 256-694-3190, and we'll turn your fiasco into a Picasso.
I love it.
All right. Also, I have a landscaping company. It's called Anointed Picasso's Lawn Care. So if you want, a haircut on your lawn, call 256-694-3190. We'll turn your fiasco into a Picasso. And then I have my music industry. I make a lot of music and I do a lot of motivational speakings and messages. And if you want to tap into that, that's really the essence of who I am. Like that's my thing, music and speaking. I love pouring into people and motivating and influencing people, right? And so TikTok and Instagram, it's the number one fly sky. The number one fly sky.
Okay.
And that's on Instagram and TikTok. And if you want to find me on Facebook, it's Travis Terrell Sky Turner. Travis Terrell Sky Turner. I thought you was ready to rap with me, how you was nodding with me for a minute. I thought I got a
You
beat for you. I
you're
got a
making me
beat
want to
for
jump
you.
in.
Hey, we're gonna make some music.
Ah, we
Yeah.
should. We should make some music. We should.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I
It'll
keep
be great.
telling Chipmunk I
Yeah.
want to get back in the studio. I was trying to go over there the other day. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
He had
Yeah, let's
sessions
do it.
going on.
Let's do it. We should do it for real. It'll be great. It definitely will. Especially what you're doing and what you're trying to bring, to the music industry. Like you got some great stuff going, man. I'm all for it, with the kids and the youth. I'm with that.
I'm not gonna speak about that on this podcast because
Okay.
I don't want to
Okay.
give it away until I'm ready. But
Got you.
just know that I am going to be doing some music in 2025, and it's going to
Let's go.
be unlike anything you've ever seen.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm
And I
excited.
would love to have you. I would love to have
I
you on
got
the
you.
album for
I'm,
sure.
I'm got you. I'm at your service, Queen. I got you. I love who you are and what you stand for. I'm with you.
Well, ditto. I love what you're doing. And, we've got so much in common from the way we grew up to the way we've fought ourselves over the years to the way that we're finding our way in the world and how we're trying to make a difference. I really
That's right.
respect and appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Also want to make this point. Um, so I was a child that had got strung out on crack cocaine at the age of 14 years old.
Mm, 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 mm.
I'm gonna say that again for somebody because somebody needs to hear this. 14 years old, I was strung out on crack cocaine. I was a product of my environment. I knew that wasn't my destination. I knew that wasn't it though, so I fought. And it took me a while. It took me years to fight and really get delivered and get out of it. But now I am a success. I am successful. I own several businesses. I am not on drugs. I'm years clean of drugs. I actually help people get off of drugs simply because I never gave up. I knew that what I was going through and what happened to me didn't make me who it was or what it was. That wasn't me. And so I want to encourage somebody today to know that it doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter what happened to you. It doesn't matter who you were. That's not who you are. Walk
Amen.
into your greatness. Be all that you can be and do not stop until you seize that greatness of you. That's it.
I love it. What a beautiful message. We get to choose. We get to choose
That's
who
right.
we are with
That's
every
right.
moment, even behind bars. I have a drugs are in my family. I mean, my childhood was filled with people that were on crack. I grew up in Los Angeles in the 80s, so crack was
Oh
all
yeah.
the rage back then. And
Mm,
I've lost people to it and other things, heroin, opioids, fentanyl, sadly.
right.
Um, there's always a better way. There's
It
always
is.
a better way. You don't have to do drugs. I understand we get in these habits and we get in these patterns, but like you said, that's not who you are. That's a
That's right.
behavior you're doing, but that's not
Right.
who you are. And you can
That's right.
always change who you are at any moment, even behind bars.
That's right.
I have a friend who's behind bars right now. He's been, he has a meth addiction and he is serving 3 years. He's a little bit more than halfway there. And he's now, I think, truly ready to be sober. Like, he's sober behind bars because he has no choice. Although there's actually drugs in jail too. Let's be real.
Right.
You can find drugs, but you got to have money. He doesn't have any money.
Right.
But he also says he doesn't want that life anymore. He
Right.
truly he truly wants to make a better way. So even behind bars where he's in a really awful spot, he's still bettering his life. He's reading books, he's learning, he's going to counseling. He's putting together his life plan so that when he gets out, he can truly become he can step into his greatness.
That's right. That's good.
And he's like
Wow.
53 and
Come on.
he's it's never too late. It's never
Come
too
on.
late
Never too
to
late.
step into your
Never.
greatness. As long as you are
Never.
alive on this planet, it is not too
Right.
late.
That's right. I have something to add to that just to show you. I have a cousin here from Huntsville, has been rapping all his life, and he's of age in his 40s now, you know, and he just went to the top. He's number one on the Billboard chops of TikTok and everything, and just he's now about to get a great record deal and everything. So now he's gone. His career has finally taken off.
Who?
Super King Big Pope.
Oh, okay, okay. Yep.
That's my
Chipmunk
cousin.
put me
Yeah.
on to him.
Yep, that's my cousin. He finally has made it. He's number one on billboards and everything, Instagram, and so he's went to New York and actually going through his little thing. And I'm not gonna put all this stuff out, but I just want to show that it's never too late, you
No,
know.
it's not.
And I know I can share this because we had a conversation. And at first he was like, man, you know, right now, fam, I'm thinking of just letting the music, you know, chill for a minute. I'm really not on that. I'm just trying to take care of my child and, you know, be a father and be a great man of God, right? And I encouraged him, like, don't give up. You know, you were made to do this. You know, if God created you to do this and gave you this gift, it's gonna go. It's just about, you know, us putting God first and making sure he's in it, right? And so I'd be dang, man, a couple months later, this happened.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so it
Yeah,
goes to show it's never too late. It's never too late. Your God's timing, the universe's timing is the perfect timing. It's all about what you're doing to get ready for the timing because a lot of times we want things, but we're not ready for it.
yeah,
And you can't attract it if you're not it. So that's the key. Make sure you're it. Come on.
absolutely.
That's
How
right.
exciting for him. Yeah, I went and checked out his music and
Yeah.
he's got some bops and
Yeah.
it's definitely it's an exciting time for everyone that's involved in that because it's things are about to blow up and I love that for
Yes.
him and I hope that he stays true to himself and recognizes one that he deserves it and
Right.
two don't fall into the trap of the Hollywood, like just
Yes.
don't fall into that
Yes.
trap because it is a trap.
Yes. Yes.
You gotta stay true to
Yes.
yourself.
That's right. Also, if you want to hear some of my music, you know, go
Yeah.
follow me. I have a single out. It's called Never Clock Out. For all of my workaholics like Tammy, you know, Tammy like to work. She after work, she goes to work. She never clocks out. Come on now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that song is dedicated to you, Queen.
I
But
love
it's
it.
called Never Clock Out by Black Sky. Black Sky, Never Clock Out. Type that in all platforms, pull it up, give me a like, a share, tell me what y'all think. And it's positive, it's motivational. You can go in the gym, work out to it. You can go to work to it. You can podcast to it. You can do commercials to it, like whatever. Just it's
We'll
positive. It's
drop a
good stuff.
link to it so people can go and hear your single. We'll drop a link in when we put this podcast episode out so people can go
Okay,
right to it.
sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan, love.
Well, great. This has been awesome. Travis, thank you so much again. You're amazing. Keep doing what you do, and I can't wait to collaborate with you in the future.
Most definitely, and you're amazing as well. You already know that, man. I appreciate it for real. Iron sharpens iron.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.